Hey there, and welcome back to Liveware Problem, where we talk about DSP related stuff most of the time. Trying something new here. Every video is an attempt by me to not only get his ass, but improve my skills with audio or video or something of that sort. So, instead of static imagery today, you're going to be treated to some footage I took with my drone. I think it's poignant given the topic. This is from near a friend's place a little while ago, back when the sun was out. If you're new to the channel, I want to make it very clear that this is not going to be a theme. Defending DSP is not something I'm interested in doing. But I also think it's important to keep a perspective here. I don't want to sound sanctimonious about it, but I have a feeling I'm still relatively new to the Snortex. Haven't even hit the first year mark. But I have a feeling that the longer you're a part of this and the more you see of the guy, the easier it becomes to just dismiss everything he does, because he just really, really kind of sucks. I don't know how else to put it. So I'm attempting not to fall into that trap too much, but I'm absolutely not here to play devil's advocate. That's nonsense. But in this one case, out of the many, many hours of him that I have seen, both from clips and other commentary channels and things like that, he has actually brought up a point that I think is very good, and unfortunately I'm seeing him being dragged for it a little bit in a lot of places, and he made a point that I agree with, and it struck me. He didn't put it very well, and of course, being the guy, he has exhausted all goodwill from everyone, but you know, when someone's right, they're right. Nobody's an unalloyed evil, just as nobody is an unalloyed good. If we fall into the trap of just like everything he does is dumb and stupid because he did it, then that's a problem. And I'm not saying that that's the way it looks like anything's going either. I'm just trying to preface this and I guess pussyfoot around a bunch to say, this channel does not intend to become devil's advocate or DSP's little defense league or anything like that. Let's cut to our boy. Let's cut to Mr. Philip Burnell on the date that Microsoft Flight Simulator launched, or failed to launch, depending on how you look at it. Additionally, Snort Hogan, thank you very much. Links to this clip and his channel will be in the description below. Make sure you check him out, give him a follow. Amazing resource for the community. None of this would be possible without clippers and restreamers and all that. So thank you, and especially for this video, thank you to Snort Hogan. You rock. Here's your intro. Away we go.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. Snort, Hogan. Drip, snort. I got the drip. Go.
Anyway, let me try to boot this one more time.
So to be clear, he's been trying this a little bit already, and it's not loading for him.
Not looking very good. Enemy Warlock says, I think I remember long queue times with 2020 as well. I had to wait till the next day to even play it once. It's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Why? Right? Yeah, so
And
it looks like we're doing
here's the part where I gotta agree with him a little bit. Now he's just scrolling chat, hoping somebody will solve it for him.
We are aware of reports aircraft are missing from my library and aircraft select streams. The issue is related to the server issues.
He's obviously feeling it.
All right.
A lot more.
Let me ask. I gotta present something. Okay.
Okay, he's gonna present something. I'm pausing. We'll let him get to it in a second. But also realize that this is a guy who for some reason has a weird thing with schedules. So that's going to tip him a little bit more into the extremes than, say, your average person who's disappointed by not being able to play a game on the day that they should be able to play it. However, a normal human being, even one obsessed with schedules, would realize that the best laid plans and all that. So they would have, or over, how long has he been streaming? 16 years, 11 years? I don't know. I should probably memorize that at some point. However many years he's been streaming, you would think he should have developed, maybe in the first year, the ability to adapt on the fly to problems. Something goes wrong. The show must go on. Isn't that what performers always say? Point being here, just like, this is obviously really bad for him because he doesn't have the talent or the skill to improvise in any way. And also, he is psychologically beholden to a schedule, which is now totally fucked. So he is going to go to an extreme, which we're going to see. However, bear in mind, think about the essence of what he's saying, not how he's saying it, or, well, exactly what he's saying, because some of it's kind of dumb. But let's continue. Here we go.
All right. If you are a game developer, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You're a game developer.
Yep.
Think, put yourself into the shoes. You work for a game company. You're developing a game.
Sure, I'm in their shoes. Let's go.
Is it not your job and your
Why you gotta phrase it like that? Why you gotta phrase it with a weird negative?
When you have a game that you get people excited for, right? For years, it's going to be a great game.
Well, I'm a game developer. I'm not getting anyone excited for it.
You make sure
that's somebody else's
that
job.
when the game releases, you can actually play the game. Is that not the biggest priority? Like, for example, in any product, when you open a restaurant,
for any product,
isn't it not the most important priority the day you open the restaurant that people can come inside, sit down, and eat a meal?
Yeah.
When you own a car dealership, is it not your biggest priority to make sure that when someone purchases a car, then they can get in the car, start the car, and drive the car off the lot and use it? Right. Immediately once they buy it, that should be the priority, correct? Why is it that with video games, imagine movies, you buy a movie ticket, you go to the theater, you sit down in the theater, and then all of a sudden they say, sorry, the movie doesn't work. Come back later. No, I'm here now.
I've been there. I've done that. It sucks.
I want the movie, goddammit. If you don't give it to me, I'm going to go to the
one of those
court,
like
I'm going to take one of those foot-long hot dogs and I'm going to shove it right up. Excuse me, I got a little worked up.
All right,
but you know what I'm saying?
Let's pause it again. What the fuck kind of a reaction is this? A lot of people I've seen talking about this is like, wow, shit happens, and to a certain degree, that's true. You can't account for everything. So you go to the movie theater and the projector's broken, then like, when I've done it, they gave me the option of like a rain check, which was just like, you know, they had these little printed out pieces of paper, they handed it to you, they're like, come to another showtime and you can come see the movie, or they would just give you your money back, whichever one you wanted. So if you were so furious that you wanted to commit sodomy with a hot dog from the food court, then like, you could get your money back. They're not just taking his money, right? And I don't know. He's losing his mind here. He needs to get out more. I think he thinks that once you give somebody money, it's theirs and there's no recourse. Probably because he's called in so many like shitty non-real complaints to DoorDash and Amazon to return stuff that didn't need to be returned or get a refund, that he's blocked on both of them. And since those are his only interactions with the world or business, then like, yeah, he probably does think that in this new world that he hasn't been a part of for a decade and a half, that fucking when you give a business your money, that's it, that's done. Unless you get a lawyer, your money's theirs. Ha ha.
Like any other business, the whole priority is that you pay and you get what you paid for. Why is it that with video games particularly, okay? You buy the game, and then you don't get what you pay for, and we all just accept it as a part of the cycle, right? I don't understand this. Any other medium, any other product you buy, it's like, okay, I get what I paid for when I paid for it. That's the deal. I give you monetary compensation. You provide me with a good or service. That's you shake hands. That's it. It's what we're doing, right? But video games, it's like, I provide you money. You then randomly gamble on if you're getting something for it. I mean, eventually, maybe like a few days, a week, a month, 6 months down the line, you'll actually get what you were promised.
All right, I'm going to stop him here again, because he's 100% correct, and this does seem to be specifically a gamer thing. I don't know what it is. I stopped being a gamer in like as soon as I arrived at college and realized there were other things to do, and But in high school, big into it. And this wasn't really a thing that happened. I think one of the last things I remember doing that was a big video game thing was StarCraft 2 released. So we pre-ordered that back when pre-ordering wasn't as terrible of an idea as it is today, because you needed the physical medium. So we showed up and they had a little, everyone waited outside until midnight when the game was officially released, and then you could go in and get your thing, and it was kind of excited, and they had some people come out and get you pumped up, and you could win some posters and stuff with trivia. It was mildly fun. But when we got back home, we all installed our copies, and the game ran. Granted, I think it was only 40 or 50 bucks back then, not 60 or 70 like it is today, but that's, the game fucking ran. Because it was a completed product when they launched it. And to be clear, if you're an indie dev, I'll give you a little bit of wiggle room, right? You probably can't afford to buy, 50 different systems to test your game on, to see if all your code runs on all these different weird graphics cards and operating system combinations as best you can, and optimize and all that. Fine. That's fine. But the game should still run on some systems. If you are selling a game and it's not a pre-release, if you're a major studio and you release a game, the game should fucking run when it comes out. That's not a hot take. That's not a crazy take. Phil is 100% correct here. He could not be more right. And I don't understand why video gamers think that this is cool. It's not. Even, again, back when I used to game a lot, there were bugs and shit. And, towards the end of my high school career, the internet was finally, fast enough, and Steam had picked up that you could, if something was buggy, then the developers would release a patch, and you would download it, and it was fine. But, again, it was considered major news if a game came out and it had a game breaking bug or something, because how are you going to fix that? You're going to ship discs out to everybody with the patch on it, or have them return the bad disc, or it's just a logistics nightmare. But now everyone's like, yeah, whatever. Cyberpunk 2077 doesn't fucking run right. That's all right. I already paid for it. I'll just suck it up. Why? It's really weird. Let's let him continue.
At the time of the original transaction, but why the hell is it that most video games these days have these issues? Microsoft Flight Simulator, okay, is a game that the vast majority of people who play will not ever use a multiplayer component in any way, shape, or form. People just want to learn how to fly a plane and fly it around the simulated world and enjoy.
Now, I'll stop him again. I think Phil's incorrect here. I do think I don't play Flight Simulator, so I don't know for sure. But I have seen videos of people, and I think that a big part of it is actually the multiplayer experience. If I'm not mistaken, you can play as flight controller. So then, you like set up, you're in an instance with some other people and you're at the airport that somebody wants to land at, and you get to be a flight controller. Like, I don't know, people like farming simulators or forklift simulators or civil engineering simulators. So it's not particularly surprising that there would be people who just want to be flight controllers in a place where like there are no stakes. So this does exist, and I wouldn't be surprised if like a large segment of people enjoy playing this game socially. Especially, like you and your friend, you could have some airplane races or something. Maybe you even call each other up and stuff. So I think he's incorrect on the multiplayer aspect a little bit. But he is very correct in what I think is coming up, if I remember this clip correctly. So let's let him go again.
That's it. Now, I understand with Flight Simulator, there are components to a live server, because what they do is they actually will simulate how the world is, like the weather and
this is true, and this is
cycle. Now, you can change that. It doesn't have to be live, but they have that live
sort of a cool feature
where basically,
personally,
it's trying to simulate what's really happening on the globe right now. And I think a lot of people enjoy that component of it.
Yeah, like you said, I'm sure a lot of people think it's really cool. So
if it's launch day and you know that it's not going to work, why not disable that feature for launch day and explain to everyone, hey, everyone, just so you know, we anticipate we're going to have a lot of people who are going to be playing our game on launch day. Therefore, the live components, such as the live weather, this and that, we're going to disable them. We want to give people a chance to jump in and play the game in more of the offline capacity first, and so that everyone can get a feel for it. And then maybe within like a few days, maybe 3-4 days, when the player base is calming down a bit, then we're going to enable the live server capability so that we'll have that in
honestly
sync. But for the most part, it makes sense.
Not a terrible idea.
First. We know there's going to be a lot of people playing at launch. That's why we're going to do it. I mean, does it take that much of a thought process? Do you have to be like a fucking rocket scientist to figure that out? Do you have to be like a PhD in fucking crazy levels of science? Or do you have to be a giant world-thinking philosopher to figure out that on launch day, people want to play your fucking game because they fucking paid for it and they deserve to play the game they bought? You fucking incompetent, mouth-drooling jackasses.
He's going a little off the rails
How the
here.
fuck can you not figure this out? That on release day of a game, if you buy it, you should be able to play it.
Now that...
It's not
a
big, complicated issue. It's a simple fix. But these fucking game developers are morons. How they fucking can't figure this out, I don't get. And I've had enough of it.
I think they figured it out. I think they just realized they don't need to care.
It's time to call a moron a moron. This is a game where you fly around the globe in a plane. This is not Call of Duty where you have to shoot people in a multiplayer setting. It should work right now. Like this very fucking moment, I should be flying in a plane, not sitting in a stupid goddamn queue because these incompetent fucking nerds don't know how to make a video game.
All right, we'll pause it there because he says it very poorly, but he's completely 100% correct, and he's correct on sort of two fronts. The first front, it's a flight simulator game. If you can buy the game and download it to your console, then the base part of the game should be ready to go. You should have your single-player campaign ready to go. You should have whatever. So in this case, you should have some base planes and a few places to fly with randomized weather or some shit. And maybe they have some challenges or something too. So they'll have fly from Dubai to France in under an hour I don't think you could do that in under an hour, but I'm trying to come up with an example, flight challenges, sure. And then the multiplayer components shouldn't break the game. You've downloaded and installed the game should be there. Why isn't it? And again, I get it. Now it's got all these amazing graphics and real images from the world it needs to pull in, and all of this would be too big for your hard drive, fine. But some base shit so that people can play it when they start it, that is entirely reasonable. and it is absolutely not anywhere near beyond the capabilities of Microsoft. So that's the second front that I think he's correct here on. And he doesn't touch on it, but, he doesn't touch on it well. Microsoft's kind of a big company. It's Microsoft. They have all of the fucking data. They've got it all. It's sitting on their servers. They know they've got all this information. So they couldn't figure this out. Now, I'm just a stupid scientist, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Take what I say with a grain of salt. But if I was, say, producing a video game and I was going to make it so that you had to have online connectivity to play, and I wanted to sell that, then I could, I could make the argument that I didn't know how many people were going to buy the game and try to connect on day one. But that is not an excuse in Microsoft's case. That is not remotely true. First of all, they've got the fucking pre-order numbers, okay? They've already taken a bunch of people's money, so they know at least that many people are going to need to connect to the servers. If they've done any sort of game testing, then they know what kind of bandwidth and file transfer sizes and things like that they're going to need to be prepared for. And then, they control the storefront. They can buy advertising data from the advertising companies. They can see how many people clicked on it to see how much interest is there in the game beyond the people who already gave us the money. How many people have it in their wish list? How many people have this or that? How many people from the previous year upgrade? They should have 100%, just like a really fucking good analytics team that said, yeah, this many people are going to try to connect on day one. All right, get the servers ready. Or, like Phil said, if you don't want to have a massive server farm that can handle absolute day one peak connectivity and then be underutilized for the rest of the time and you're wasting all that compute power, then disable some of the other stupid features. Or not stupid, but disable some of these social features or stuff like that. Like these are predictable failure modes. It's not really that hard. And when you've got that much money and that much talent behind something, it is truly inexcusable to say, oh, well, didn't know demand was going to be so high. Yeah, you did. You just didn't care. And I can't necessarily fault them for that because that's how businesses work these days. But Phil is correct. This is dumb. He bought a game, he downloaded it and installed it, and now he can't play it. Why is that? What did he pay for? Now, he should have just returned it and never gone back to it because that's the only way to send a message. But no, he just complains about it, and then I think he tries again in a couple of days. So let's see if he has anything else to say. There's his whole clip, I think there's another 7 minutes left, but he just kind of harps on the same points and gets more excessively animated, we'll call it. More face touching.
Oh. And the thing is, it's not that they don't have a track record of this happening. It's not like, oh, this is the first time. This has happened with every sim game. Sim City, this happened where they tried to launch and they had the live component on launch day and it didn't work and the game flopped. We have had failure after failure after failure after failure, and no one learns. There's a difference between book smart and street smart. These people are book smart. They're good at coding. But when it comes to modern life, when it comes to common sense, when it comes to the consumer satisfaction,
Phil's obviously never met
they don't have
a computer scientist
clue.
or
how the hell they didn't
a
figure
games
out
developer
that this game wasn't
a lot
going
of
to
them are
work on
fairly
launch
street
day.
smart. But
Because
also, what does street smarts have to do
worldwide
with this?
sim component of syncing with Earth that everyone's going to want to play once. I mean,
He keeps doing this face touching thing.
I'm 42 years old. My patience is wearing very thin with this shit. And to be quite frank, I'm happy it's on Game Pass.
No, it's on Game Pass.
Paid
Still,
$70 plus tax
still,
for this.
my previous argument is correct.
Day, I probably
I'm sure they can see how many people click.
This is stupid.
In the Game Pass little browser area
dumbest
to
level
see
of intelligence.
how many people like
do
clicked on it and might be interested in
this
it.
Was going to happen on
so they can get a hypothetical conversion rate of people there. They'll know how many people had it in their wish list or bookmarks, or if it has that feature.
In their mind,
there's
they're
just
like,
a
you know
ton
what?
of data they have to know how many people are going to want to connect on the first day.
We don't give a shit if it works or not at launch. We just don't care, right? We're going to make our money regardless. And we know that in a few days, people will get frustrated of trying to play it and just back out and not play it. And then enough people will be able to trickle in and play it slowly, and then everything will be fine. Yo, forget the fact that the initial customer experience is absolutely atrociously awful. But I think as an industry, we need to stop.
What is your industry,
actually
Phil? Your industry is being a fat 40-year-old man who plays video games poorly and whines.
Very shortly, we have to stop saying, oh, it's a video game, don't expect it to work at launch. No, it should be, oh, it's a video game, it works at launch, and if it doesn't, we refund it, and we don't ever spend our money again on that. And then they go out of business because they're incompetent. And then actual competent companies will step up and make games. Get it? You want to know the saddest part? Microsoft Flight Simulator is the big Microsoft exclusive of the year.
He has a weird thing with exclusives.
There's been no other major Microsoft exclusives.
We'll kill it here because he doesn't have anything else to say on this topic. But again, he's 100% right here. There's no excuse for Microsoft not to have been ready for the number of people that were connecting to connect. And if they didn't design server-side components to be able to handle that peak or whatever, then they need to have had systems in place to control for that. This is kind of like if you're going to add online components, that's like very important. You want your players to be able to connect, otherwise they won't be players anymore. And how are you going to sell them in-game upgrades and loot boxes and cosmetics and season passes and stuff like that if they can't connect to it? But of course, they don't need to worry about it because gamers are weird and they'll really take anything these days. It's a little bit crazy, but I'm sure they'll figure it out eventually, or not, and they'll just keep getting away with this. So everybody keeps saying, Phil's going crazy. Shit happens. He should just calm down. He definitely flew off the handle. This is definitely him having a little bit of a meltdown here, but he's not incorrect. His sentiment is correct. This is not okay. People should not say, "Oh, don't be upset about this. You shouldn't be anywhere near this upset." But this should be like an embarrassment to Microsoft, but it's not. Nobody will care. They'll make up their own excuses for it. Microsoft doesn't even need a PR team to come out and apologize. We've already got a bunch of unpaid people sitting on Reddit right now, I'm sure, who are going, "Ooh, it's fine. Everybody's riled up about it. Here's some justifications." So, meh. But whatever, who cares? So yeah, that's my kind of tepid defense of Phil here. He articulated it poorly, and he was well overboard on how much this pissed him off. But he is correct. This is not an acceptable game launch. Many game launches are not acceptable anymore. If you are a big studio like this, your game needs to run on day one when it comes out. If you have to push back the deadline, I guess you got to push back the deadline. But stop giving people broken junk and stop accepting. Stop laying down and letting them do this. There's not really much you can do other than just kind of like maybe instead of playing games on day one and pre-ordering, just go back to an old favorite. Pull up some New Vegas or Civ 6 or the old standbys and play those and see how the game goes on day one for the rubes who bought into it. That would be my advice. But you do you. You know what works for you better than I do. And especially don't be Phil. Because this is absurd. This is too much. He is too angry about this. Anyways, that's been the episode. Thanks for listening. This is Liveware Problem signing off. Ooh. Oh wait, shit. Sorry, I'm recording this slightly in the future. Quick announcement. Stay tuned to this channel a little bit, because in the nearish future, I am going to be starting a new series. So instead of just commentary, I'm going to be doing what I'd like to call Into the Snortex. This series will feature normies who are either completely unaware of DSP or are only like vaguely aware of him in the sense of like they've heard the name, or maybe they know he was the jerk off guy, but other than that, like they just don't really know much about him. So I'll be showing them interesting clips from both recent events that week and historical things to see how a normie responds when they're watching, because I'm kind of curious. Obviously, it's pretty well thought that there's some interesting characteristics to the people who are typical Phil fans, always watching his content. Maybe not what you would call average Joes. So I wanna ask normal people around the area what they think when they see some DSP in action. And we'll see if any of them are like, yeah, this is great content. I'd watch this. Or, yeah, that's perfectly normal behavior. I do that all the time. Pretty sure that's not going to happen. But we'll see. It's an experiment. So, yeah, look out for that coming in the next week or two. I've already got somebody set up who has decided to be the guinea pig. And we'll be having them on the show and seeing what they think. So, signing off again. This has been Liveware Problem. Ooh, but again.